Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Trading Room. I'm Shane Vernier, and this is the U.S. Mid-Session Brief. Today, we're going to be watching pretty much all the markets. If there's any markets out there that you'd like to me to cover, go ahead and just let me know in the live chat. I'm more than happy to do so. All this week, we are going to be live twice a day. I went live before the U.S. Open this morning. We will be doing the same thing tomorrow exclusively over on the Switch Markets channel. There we'll be covering levels, the latest developments on the Iran war, and what exactly we can look to expect out of the market. So without further ado, Team Marina, good to see you. Welcome. Bobby Bob, hi, Coach. Happy to see you back again. And yeah, we're pulling double duty this week, so I'm really having a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Tuku, good to see you, Tuku. Challenging day trading. I took some lumps today, but honestly, not really worried. There's a lot of money flying around, and so this is an exciting time to be a trader. The biggest thing we have to do is just watch our risks, stick to our rules, and we'll be just fine. That's really what it boils down to. It's a matter of time with this much volatility and this much action in the markets. We're going to have some great things that we're going to be able to do in the coming days. But right now, it's a bit chaotic. I'm going to show you a textbook washout. I haven't seen a washout like one of these in a long time, but I was fortunate on this one that I caught it. But the WTI crude oil futures during the U.S. session traded in a real tight range and just washed everybody out. So I want to go ahead and dive into that to begin with. But the rest of our trade ideas still not really a whole heck of a lot going on. We've got a 9 EMA trade right now that's developed on the 30-minute chart, the 1 hour time frame on your Euro USD. Been a challenge trading the Euro USD today. There's no two ways about it. It's been really a whipsaw affair. We saw an epic downtrend that was sort of gone in a flash. I mean, we were looking for maybe a test of the 115 level even as potentially a downside look at the end of this trend. And I mean, it just bounced. It flat out bounced, and when we saw really a lot of buying in here, this 2 hour period right here, and now we've sort of tapered off a little bit, but I do believe we probably press higher. But these are tough calls. So I'm not, like I said the other day, there's no safe conduct. You just have to take the trades and manage them accordingly. Don't let them get away from you. Believe me, it's easy to take big losses in this environment because the market is moving so fast, and that is typically what catches a lot of us flat-footed. But this one's interesting, so that's a good look at the 9 EMA. I wanted to start there. If there's any of you out there that are interested in trading the strategy, I'm going to go ahead and drop this in the live chat. It's probably our last few days of promo on the 9 EMA. I know most of you have seen it. The folks that are interested in it already have it, but you can go ahead and get the strategy pack right there. Enter your email address, get locked and loaded. And always remember that if you want to trade anything that we talk about here today, you just head on over to Switch Markets and open up your account. It's really that simple. Free demo account. I highly recommend, if you're brand new to the markets, to get in there and start working your demo account on days like today. So good to see everybody back. Team Marina, good to see you. Hello. Naomi Rising, good to see you. Naomi, always welcome. Jason, Shane, watching you more than watching TV, but learning a lot. Naomi, definitely chaotic. Yes, this has been a chaotic day. I got whipsawed up. I got chewed up by the Euro USD. Doesn't happen often. Happened today, but I'm laughing. I think we're going to be just fine. I'm honestly really good stuff in WTI crude oil today. Bobby Bob, good to see you. Bobby, welcome. Ralph H, Lita, Andrea Garwal, great to see everybody. If you guys have any markets that maybe you're struggling with or that you would like to look at, be sure to drop them in the live chats and I'll cover them. That's really what this stream is going to be for. A lot of price action, a lot of breaking news. Probably not a whole heck of a lot of fundamentals to talk about. It's all about war right now and volatility. Okay, let's dive in. This was sort of the breakout that I wanted to show you on WTI crude oil. This was one that was fantastic. This area right in here, there was your opening bell ding ding for WTI crude 9 a.m. Eastern, and you saw a really tight bar, and then we traded sideways and then just washed that market out right there. An incredible spike of volatility. Why? Because all the retail longs were holding. Stop out was right underneath that opening low. Theoretically, a pretty good area and something that maybe you'd be looking at as a potential orb strategy. I mean, it really was a significant jump. We saw this market absolutely just plummet in just a few minutes. So that was a good example of potentially an orb there. If you were looking at a 30-minute orb for WTI, that was it. Right there, opening bell, the second bar, there's your range. We broke and shattered it, and we're still rolling to the south side. So even though WTI crude is up about 5.75%, somewhere in that, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. A lot of that was during the overnight when the news started coming in that the Strait of Hormuz was really limited and basically closed for business. That was bid up during that London session, and since then, the U.S. session, nothing's happened. We're seeing a bit of bearish price action with all this volume in there. We thought that could be the case, and that is exactly what's happening. So we're testing 75. It wouldn't shock me if we settle somewhere right in 75 going into the overnight, and then we just push the reset button and we start it all over again with a brand new news cycle. Interesting stuff there, that's for sure. Euro USD, I wanted to show this level as well before we get too far along. You can see a nice big 3-day range or 4-day range, spike high to these panic lows down here that we developed earlier today. I went right down to 15.28, 15.30, 115.30, 115 and a quarter was, pretty good zone, probably 115 evens, probably a pretty good support zone, but really an epic bounce on what was just a serious trend day. I got chopped up down in here a little bit, selling Fibonacci retracements. Tried to shoot for a little bit more than I should have, but that's okay. Sometimes you make those decisions and they don't pan out. Still very bearish here all of a sudden. The money is flying into the U.S. dollar, and you're seeing this DXY index really approach the key levels that we talked about earlier today, which was what? Right around 100, 99.15, somewhere right there. I'm in your moving average. Right around, let's see, a 13-month EMA, and that's going to be 103.86, 99.53. So we checked that perfectly. We've come off. So the dollar is definitely a little bit stronger. Why is that the case? Doesn't really have much to do with our interest rate expectations. Right now, uncertainty. The dollar is being viewed as a safe haven, and that is absolutely key. Money's coming into the USD. It's called capitulation, and that's when everybody else decides they're going to pile into the dollar as opposed to maybe stocks, maybe metals, maybe energies, whatever. Interesting day on the metals markets. We're going to cover that up next, but we do have a few news items to break down right now. Okay, so this is it, sort of our midday update on the Iran situation, Iran live updates. Trump denies Israel pulled into war. That the polling numbers aren't good on this. We're going to give this another day, then we're going to start looking at some polling numbers. But the people, a lot of angst about these military strikes and what they could mean to maybe a broader conflict in the region. So when we're watching this, I'm definitely looking for the court of public opinion, what's happening. In the real court of public opinion, we're going to be looking at betting odds. We're going to be looking at polls from probably all over the place, not just our mainstream media. We pretty much know what they're going to report. But for this initial onslaught, it's being viewed very much as an offensive attack, which is exactly what it is. And now we're starting to see the politics end of it get involved. President Trump denied accusations that Israel effectively dragged the U.S. into war and said most of the people in the U.S. had in mind to take over Iran are dead. I don't know what to make of any of this at this point. Things are happening so fast. There's an old saying, the fog of war. That's exactly what we're seeing now. A tremendous number of headlines, almost too many to count. All right, the U.S. closes embassies in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. That's not changed from earlier today. U.S. gas prices are poised to jump to an average of $3.35 a gallon, up from nearly $3.10 today. So gasoline up a quarter. That's not a backbreaker. It really isn't. I know it's a quarter, and you're like, oh, man, that's fast. What happens when this starts turning into a 5 or a 6 or a 7? I've seen that in my lifetime. Prices of a gallon of gasoline up around $5 and $6 a barrel here in Montana, where traditionally those are the lower end of the spectrum here in Montana and in some of the metropolitan areas. I remember it was at $7 and $9 a gallon, which is absolutely crazy. So Iran bolstered its forces in southern Lebanon and has put ground troops into Lebanon, launched an invasion. That was just about an hour ago. Oil supertanker race rose to all-time highs following Iran's vow to close the Strait of Hormuz. Insurance companies do not want to insure any of the tankers going through Hormuz because they will be sunk. Interesting things are happening. Oil prices have spiked as a result of a potential disruption. U.S. military leaders said more forces are headed to the region. So this is the big one right here. Oil surges for the second day. Brent tops $83 after Iran orders Strait of Hormuz closure. Now, realistically, what this means to your oil markets, specifically Brent crude, we'll go ahead and pull up UK oil here. But what you're seeing is the potential for escalation, and it will come through the energy markets. Let me just figure out the right way to put this. I'm not a war strategist. I'm not an armchair quarterback. I'm not going to sit around and say, okay, I know exactly what's going to happen, because I don't. I'm really not, too up to speed. I know some history. I know some logistical things. I know a few strategic things, but I do know this. I do know that when the energy stops, typically things start happening. The precursor to the Japanese actually attacking the United States in World War II was what? It was cutting off the energy. We're starting to see China rattle their sabers on, hey, keep the Strait of Hormuz open because a lot of their oil comes from there. There's a lot going on that suggests that maybe this, it more than likely will stay a regional conflict. I'm very confident of that. I would be surprised if this goes global, but there is an impetus there to keep the energy flowing and to make sure that things don't just balloon up in price. You can withstand high prices for a little while, but that there still is that commodity available. If it's not available, it's going to be a big, big deal. So what that means is if that Strait of Hormuz is shut down, let's say some tankers are sunk in there and you can't use it anymore, which a lot of folks believe is coming in the next day or two. If that happens, that's going to be the precursor for a ground invasion. Now, I don't know whose forces it'll be. Probably the United States, probably Israel, maybe some NATO forces. Who knows? I know the UK was sending troops there after Starmer really denied any involvement in any of this yesterday. I think they've got a carrier headed there and also some troops. So we're going to be talking about maybe ground troops have to be there to secure the area around the Strait of Hormuz to be able to get in there and get that thing working again properly. So there's so many different things that can happen here. There's so many different things that can happen here. I think that that's one of the reasons why your markets are really on edge. Right now, there's no denying that there is a negative correlation between crude oil and your stocks. Crude oil goes up, stocks go down. Dollar goes up, stocks are coming down. What's fascinating is the dollar's going up and energies are going up. That tells us that this is a crisis type of a trading environment and a crisis play. So when we're looking at UK oil and we're talking about the Strait of Hormuz, there's a couple of things to remember. Think that shipping lane has to be open. If it's not open, it's a big, big problem. Okay, in any case, right here, 74.96, right here, 38%. You'll notice is right in that gap area. I'm very, very confident that we fill that gap in, but does it come right now? No way. Not yet. Not yet. Maybe by the end of the week. Things are changing fast. Maybe by the end of the week, but right now, I don't think so. A couple of other things that we'd like to look at here. I was looking earlier, did a few trades on Canadian dollar futures, and you can see there was a beautiful setup. Monthly levels here for the dollar CAD, 137.33, 38%. Keep a close eye on that level. Absolutely beautiful. It was tested earlier today, and really proved to be just an absolute winner. A banger. We tested it back in February, 6th of February. We tested again there 24th of February, and then we tested it the 3rd of March, which was today, and it was an absolutely fantastic trade. So if you got that one, congratulations. If not, that's okay as well. No worries. No worries, no harm, no foul, right? No harm, no foul. As far as, what are we really looking to get accomplished for the rest of today's session? Well, we do need to turn our attention to equities here, and I'm more than happy to take any questions you may have. Let's actually focus on a few of them. I know I get behind on the live chat when I start talking price action. Okay, let me see. Babjeez, what's up? I hope it's not too late. It's not too late. These markets are spinning, and they're going to spin all day and all night. So just be ready. Take your time. Pace yourself. Third cup of coffee already, and then it's nap time. Let me see, Babjeez. Could it be a strategy to secure Venezuela oil reserves before striking Iran? Well, they already struck Iran. There was a theory that I heard earlier today from, it was basically another trader. He was have friends in Iran, and the gentleman in Iran said that they believe that maybe Trump was looking to boost the price of oil to make some of that harder to get Venezuela oil worth more on the global market. I don't know about that. I think politically high oil prices it's very difficult to get anywhere politically with high oil prices, but it was an interesting type of a theory. So I don't know I don't know. I think that Venezuela's oil reserves are still sort of in flux. I don't think any of that's been secured yet. They've got some agreements, but they don't have the infrastructure built there. But I do think that the key is going to be keeping the Strait of Hormuz open. No question about it, and I don't know how they're going to do it. That's really what Iran's always said they would do. Let me see. Tina Jing. Hello, Tina. Welcome. Let me see. F8. Howdy there. Howdy, F8. Good to see you back. If there's any, like I said, any markets you want to cover, go ahead and line them up. But let's get on to U.S. equities. Now, a lot of folks are big fans of the orb. So we sort of talked a little bit about these levels yesterday for the S&P 500. The low right down there was February's low, 67.30. Today we went down to 67.10, and we've since bounced. So actually, honestly, sort of bullish price action since we've got involved with the technicals here just a few hours ago. It's looking a lot better than it was 2 hours ago. I mean, this was a major downturn. Let's go to a 30-minute chart and see what we have. Well, your 30-minute chart, you're showing signs. You really are showing signs of life. And right there, opening bell, ding, ding. There's your session low. And what has happened now, if you're playing that opening range breakout, our 2-bar orb strategy, which you can check that video out over on the How to Trade YouTube channel. You've got a 30-minute chart here. Boom. Nice sell-off, nice compression. And now, theoretically, you would be long. Do you think stuff like that works? I tell you what, if you were going to play the orb, it's a pretty good day to play the orb. I mean, you're in a situation where there's a tremendous amount of volatility. Sure, there was a big sell-off, but it was during the overnight. It really was. I mean, it was right in here as the overnight. You'll notice lower volumes, still pretty good volumes, though, for the U.S. 500. And these are tick volumes. These aren't exchange volumes. But then you'll see that we jump, and then we jump right here. And as soon as the volumes, the traders, the U.S. liquidity got involved on that Wall Street Open, now you've got a rally. So is the market really down 1%? Not during the U.S. session. It's not. Fascinating stuff. I mean, there was a potentiality here for this market to absolutely fall apart, and it hasn't. It's fighting back. So a 2-bar orb right there, which would have been there's your first bar, there's your second bar. I understand on the 30-minute chart, it's really hard to take these because they're so big. That range is so big. You have to dial your leverage way down and take the trade from there. But potentially what you could have done here, maybe, according to that strategy, would have been an entry right there. There's your first bar close outside of the orb. And then something down there would have been pretty good too. That would have been your stop loss. You could have put it right beneath that bar and potentially look maybe for a 1-to-1. You could have risked the range, although I don't know that that's a good idea this late in the day if the market does reverse and close on a low, which it very well may. You're going to be in a situation to take a big hit right before the bell. You don't want to do that. Nice break there, though. And if you're not familiar with the opening range breakout strategy, our 2-bar orb strategy, how to trade calm on YouTube. Go over there and check out that video. Just run a quick search, and we run through the orb. We've done a lot of live stream clinics on the orb, too. It's one of our most popular strategies. It's a good one. It really is. It's a good one. I like it. So right now, the U.S. 500 is printing 6,800. The materializer, we saw a nice flush underneath February's low, but we've rebounded. So it's anybody's guess which way we're headed now, that's for sure. Let me see. Andrea Garwal, hi, Shane. What do you think about the WTI? It's at 38% on the 30 minutes, $75. That's fantastic observation. What I would say, Andrea, right now, this would be probably a no-fly zone for me. Let's go ahead and pull up the U.S. oil and see. If you're looking at the daily, if you're looking at today's range, 38%. So your daily range would have been coming right off of there. Couple of things jump out at me. Number one, we took that area out right here. That big sweep washed a lot of the longs out. So that's like, okay, well, the bidders defended it there. But look at what happened right here. Last 30 minutes, we came down. We took a look at 75.17. That's really close. It's a proximity test of that 75.09. And these numbers aren't exact, but they're within a few pips. And you can see right there, now you're starting to take out, you really challenge that 75 zone. I don't know that I want to be holding down there. I think it may work, but to me, I see the heat's on 75. I'm not really interested in that right this minute. Let's take this down to a 1-minute chart and see exactly what has happened at this level over the past half hour or so. Okay, there was the big washout, the break out of that range we talked about earlier. There was the rebound, sort of had a proximity test right there. Nice rally there. Came down, sort of traded, then rallied. If you wanted to take it, I mean, you could take it. Go ahead and let's buy market right here. But here's how you would have to execute. You'd have to go take profit's going to be right here, and you got to be looking at a stop loss right beneath that hammer low. So, it's really hard to do this in real time to analyze the market because these things are moving so fast. But that trade right there, I don't really have a horrible problem with it just because you have a stop out point. Now, ignore the leverage. These are demo dollars. These aren't real dollars. But you can see that you are getting a little bit of steam up above that 38% level. If you do get the clean break, maybe up to about 23, 24, that's probably a pretty good out right there. I mean, that really is not a bad out. You've seen the big bullish break. The bidders just defended it. They just defended it again. Do you still want it, though? That's the problem. So I like 75. I like the way you're thinking because 75 is a big key number, and there you go. You just pocketed a stack of cash if, in fact, you took that trade. But, these things happen so fast, especially in this environment, that it's really difficult to get, the ideas all relayed in the setups. But you're right about the 38%. The problem is the later in the day that we get, remember, and the more tests that this area, this is just the daily range is all it is, the more tests this area gets, the more likely it is to finally break. And once it finally breaks, you're probably going to run very low. 74.55 was an immediate flush out of that opening range break. That's all great. but you may be looking at 74.20s. You may be looking at 73s. You may be looking at 72.50s if the steam really gets poured on here in an hour or so, right near that pit close here in the United States. That's going to be a very active period for WTI crude oil. Be careful. Be careful. 2:30 p.m. Eastern, from about 2:20 p.m. to 2:30. Be careful, because the volume can get huge and the movements can get huge. It's called the K period. K period and WTI crude is one of those that I'm going to trade it for sure, but we've got to be very careful with what we do, because you just saw that volatility right there. That's absolutely staggering stuff. Don't be on the wrong end of it. I know that's sort of a cop-out, but don't let these things draw against you. If you're wrong, get out. Get out immediately. Okay, let me see here. Naomi, good to see you. Naomi, can you show a scalping strategy on the Great Britain pound USD 5-minute? Yeah, so that would be our piranha strategy. I believe you were the one that asked about the piranha strategy. And what the piranha is, and I've got I'll just pull it up right here. This is beautiful. Look at that orb on the US 500. Okay, so what the piranha strategy is it's a strategy for a dead market. So here it is. Here's a good setup right here. Great Britain pound USD 5-minute chart. And the way that you would set this piranha up, it's a great question. You'd set your Bollinger Bands, add Bollinger Bands. Your length is 12. Basis MA type is going to be a simple moving average. You've got all these choices. Simple moving average. Source is going to be the close of the bar. Standard deviations 2. Very simple. Very simple. Very short duration Bollinger Band. Okay, so what do you have right here? The next thing you're going to have to do is build your trades. So if you were looking to trade the Great Britain pound USD 5-minute chart according to this piranha strategy, which is brought to you by Mario Singh, this is not mine. Pretty good strategy for flat markets. A lot of movement out there. Not really trending, I wouldn't say, but definitely a lot of action here. There's a couple of things you need to remember about the piranha. Number one, you're going to want to enter on your Bollinger Bands. So right here, we would go over to our order, and I would say, okay, let's just go ahead and put a sell. We want a sell limit in there right around our upper Bollinger Band. Now remember, you've got to be very diligent about these orders, because the Bollinger Bands are always moving. So you'd put that in the queue right there. Your stop loss is going to be, I believe it's a full 10, which I don't particularly like. I think it's a lot. I think that's a pretty big risk, something like that. So maybe there's your 10 tick risk, and then something like this. Maybe your take profit is going to be not quite a 10 tick, but about half of that. So about a 10 to win 5. A couple of the keys, Naomi, with the piranha. Number one, okay, you're free to take the trades. Okay, and you have to start anytime you want. So let's say we start right now and we get this trade, okay? Man, my leverage is tiny. Let's try that. In any case, let's say we get this sell. Yeah, I confirm that. So let's say we get this sell. Now remember, you've got to always be moving your orders with your Bollinger Bands. So let's something like this, something like this. That's why it's a little bit labor intensive. Okay, but if you do get the selling opportunity up here, if you win the trade, okay, you're free to take another sell, meaning you don't have to wait for a buy. However, if you lose the trade, you need to wait for a buy, which would occur down here at the lower Bollinger Band before you can get in on the strategy. So essentially, that is a nice scalping strategy, Naomi, for the Great Britain pound on the 5-minute chart. It's actually tailor-made for it. What you have to remember is risking 10 to win 5. That is Mario Singh. We have the full tutorial in the How to Trade trading room. Feel free to come by and check it out. We've got videos, we've got PDFs, everything you need to trade it. But what I would really recommend is probably over time you're going to get a pretty good idea of where these things win and where they lose. And so you're either going to want to do two things. Either you're going to stretch this out a little bit, or you're going to bring this down into here somewhere. But I'm going to leave it as the strategy says to trade it. And like I said, that's Mario Singh. It's not Shane Vernier. But that's one way you can scalp the Great Britain pound USD on the 5-minute chart. That's for sure. All right, let me see. Babjeez, can you check out the Nikkei on the Kospi? Yeah, absolutely. And then Adenor, good to see Adenor. Welcome. Can you analyze the gold? I'm thinking a short-term sell. What do you think? All right, well, let's go ahead and let's see. Nikkei and Kospi. Let's start with gold, and then we'll go over to the Nikkei, Bab. So what I'd be looking at here is if you wanted to start on gold. You're looking at a short-term sell. You're absolutely welcome, Naomi. If you're interested in a short-term sell here, potentially on your gold market, let's go ahead and open a new chart here. I'm going to show you the 9 EMA and how to load it up. So you're going to go to properties here. You're going to go right here. I like color on white. Let's go ahead and hit OK. And then we're going to just drag and drop right here our EA. We're going to drag that. We're going to make sure algo trading is on and go ahead and give that a click. Now, you can see you had just an epic sell on the 1 hour chart, right? That was an absolute banger. Let's take this down to, say, a 5-minute chart. Okay, you're considering a sell. I don't hate the idea. I really don't. If you wanted to sell, I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. The big problem that I have with being short gold is that I need a place to get out at. And right now we're trading right around 5,100. That's going to be problematic for us because you can see how big this range is. You can see we worked a buy right there that was absolutely fantastic, still in play. And then this area right here tested our 5,000 level, and then you got a stiff bounce off of that. So if you wanted to sell, I would say, 5-minute chart. If you wanted to go with a 1-minute chart, you can see we just had a sell scalp right there on gold. You can certainly do it this way. I think it's high risk, but that's okay. I've been doing high risk stuff all day. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's the problem with high risk trades. Your win probabilities go down. But you can see we've had some really good signals. Even that right there, bam, that's pretty good stuff. That's good stuff. That right there is craziness, right around 5,000. This right here, pretty good scalp, and now maybe you get another sell. So if you were looking to sell, I would be waiting for something to set up on maybe this 9 EMA. Market's got to get overbought first, and then we need to get a close beneath that 9 EMA strategy. So if you're familiar with that, that's not a bad way to do it. Now, from my perspective, let's see this. If you're gonna trade this piranha, you gotta be precise. There's a lot of work there. Not a lot of work constantly doing that. That's what I was doing with Fibonacci's earlier today. All right, let's take a look at this gold market on the Fibs. You can see that right there. That's British pound futures. Ignore that. I was trading that earlier today. This is interesting. Gold 30-minute chart. Okay, are we thinking about a sell? I'm going to get rid of all my macro technicals, which is always a mistake, but we're going to go ahead and get rid of them and play some intraday price action. What can we say about today's session? Well, right there, that's basically the COMEX open, and this is where the futures contracts are traded. So COMEX, CME bought the COMEX. Don't worry about any of that. But what this is a nice big range that really shows you where the market has been during the bulk of that U.S. session. Fibonacci be right up in there. So if you're considering a short, I would implore you to wait. I would wait. I really would wait. If you wanted to take 50% right now, you could. I don't think that's a good idea. Much rather be looking at 62%, 51.38, 51.38.75, something like that. That would be a fantastic short that you could maybe grab a few pips on. This 78%, 51.77.45, that's a pretty good area as well. So, somewhere right up in there would be pretty good. This 62, though, of that U.S. session, essentially, that COMEX metal session, it's not bad. You can see we already went up and tested it off of this low, just sprung up there. If we wanted to bring that right down to the COMEX open and ignore that little spike, you can see just how close to that being symmetric that really is. So, you're right at your moving average on the 30-minute chart. Your daily range is shaping up to be sort of a big sell-off, and now just sort of trading sideways. So the question really for gold is, do we rally from here? Are we going to bang higher from here? What are we going to do from here? I really don't know, but I do know that given this geopolitical environment, I want to be bullish as opposed to bearish, and I'm favoring commodities to the top side as opposed to the dollar. That's just the way that I see it. Now, do we come off from here? I don't think so. I really don't. I would wait. I mean, either wait for a 9 EMA setup, and I would bring that 9 EMA back to at least a 5-minute chart. But a 62%, 51.37, not bad. Intraday action for gold. That's not a bad sell. But remember, you're not trying to pick the top of the market here. You're not trying to pick the top. What you want to do there is you're looking probably for a couple of bucks, $2.50, $3, $4, something like that. And you can get away with that because the volatility is so huge. I mean, this is your daily range. This is your New York City range right here. And what are you looking at? The distance between 62% and 50% is $27. That is staggering. That is a big range between the 50 and 62. That's a monster. So be careful with what you're doing here. These ranges are large and in charge. You don't want to get caught on the wrong side of the action. If it nails you, don't let it go against you. Just get out, come back, and do something in a few minutes. Believe me, a lot of trades today. A lot of trades today. Okay, let's see. We had some questions on the Nikkei. Okay, so let's just go ahead and back this off. I always do the same thing with the Nikkei because I get a lot of, actually I've had a lot of questions on it lately. You can see the monthly chart. This is interesting. It's not really worth putting up just yet, but keep an eye on this. Bearish so far, off 6% for the month, 50,366. That would be fantastic downside support, extremely robust. From my perspective, if this does start to turn into more than a regional conflict, if Iran escalates and all of a sudden we start seeing other countries get involved, you could easily see a big correction in the Nikkei. You really could. Now, as far as the energy prices, it's going to hurt all the equities. I'm not seeing them stay up there that long. As long as that straight stays open, I'm not seeing them stay that long. So, for instance, right there, we go back to our discussion here on U.S. oil coming off towards the end of the session. That's absolutely wonderful, and the reason why we wouldn't really bet the ranch from 75, but I still like that level. I don't have a problem with that. This right here, Euro FX futures, that's a sell right up there. Probably going to hit that right after we get off this live stream. And then you've got the Nikkei. Nikkei's down here at 50, 53.66. That's huge. Now, I talked a lot about 50,000 and the opportunity potentially to trade right above 50,000 from a support zone. This would be the key, in my view, for the Nikkei maybe for the next 3 months. Would be right down in there. So big time sell-off today, 4%. That's no joke. The rebound is on a little bit, but that really has brought us down into range. Do I want to sell it or buy it? I don't want to sell it just yet. We missed the sell. The sell's over. The sell started last night. The sell started last night. So interesting situation here with what I would say is a very, very strong level with the Nikkei. Now, I'm not necessarily sure about the KOSPI, BABGs. I'm not sure, KOSPI. I'm not real sure about what that is exactly. I guess I could type it in. KOSPI index. The Korean composite. All right. I got to tell you, I've never looked at this one. Never looked at it. So you learn something new every day. Been doing this for 15 years. Learn something new every day. Something like this is fascinating, though. I mean, that's a major dump. Clearly, the world is, this is how panics begin. U.S. stocks are fighting back during the U.S. session, but this is where the panics begin. So remember, you see a big move like that, you always step back. And this right here, I mean, this is the old what goes up must come down. I mean, that's a rocket ship to the top side. So let's go to the weekly. Spike low, spike high. Fantastic stuff right there. There's your 38% right there at 54.44, 54.45. Pretty good support zone. We're on our way down, that's for sure. We're on our way down. If we get there, it could be pretty good. Could be pretty good. That's for sure. Naomi Rising, I got to learn the Fibonacci. Nah, you don't have to learn the Fibonacci. But if you want to learn it, we've got all sorts of. I've got an entire thing, the counterpunch strategy that's located in the How to Trade trading room. Just go over there, get a free account, log in, check out the videos. It's all free. Let me see. Hey Shane, are you in the Leap Crypto Edition competition? I missed it. I'm not in it yet. I may get in it. I've just been going a million miles an hour trading the live market, and so I'm kind of not really into that crypto contest just yet. How are you doing? Are you making any hay? Who's winning? Man, those contests are so tough. They really are tough. Well, unfortunately, I lost out. I missed this trade right here. This is a Euro FX futures. You can see that's a 5-minute chart, but that right there is going to be your long-term moving average. So that would have been a beautiful scalp. That's okay. I spent my morning taking subpar trades and really not really regretting it, just being maybe a little too aggressive. But this is a great look at a monthly level. Really a great look at a monthly level. You can see right there, Euro FX futures right down there. March Euro FX futures, 116.19.5. And your moving average is right there at 116. Now let's go down to a 1-minute chart. I mean, that is it. That's high impact scalping. You know, your high right there is 116.200. Immediate 3-bar pullback down to about 116.14. And if you look at that, you're saying that's not very much. It's about 10 ticks. 10 ticks, and if you're playing for $30 or $40 a tick, that's a nice little payday. Oh, well, we'll get them next time, guys. We'll get them next time. That's for sure. But, yeah, that's just sort of the way that it's gone today. Timing hasn't been great. And now the pressure's on that moving average. Really fascinating what's going on here. And I'm not necessarily sure what to make of it. We did interesting, though. Let's see. T Marine, I actually got about 9K in gains thus far in the lowly 3,200s in the ranking. Well, there's got to be about 50,000 people at least in there. So look, there's your break. There's your break above that moving average. Wow. The dollar's going to give back all of its gains today, isn't it? Unbelievable. Unbelievable whipsaw day. Whipsaw day. Does that mean anything? Does that mean anything to stocks? Yeah, it means that the worm has turned. Things have changed a little bit. We had a trade earlier during the U.S. pre-market here. It was on the U.S., or not the Euro USD, but I had one on the U.S. 30 that was a 9 EMA strategy. But you can take a look at this Euro USD trade right here, this 1 hour. I mean, it's really starting to look pretty good. Starting to look pretty good there. That's for sure. 9 EMA strategy, pretty good in volatile situations. Let's see. Well, good place to end here is on crypto. Let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is, Bitcoin's Bitcoin. It's sort of temperamental right now. I would say that it's not moving at all. No question about it. So we talked a lot about this area. Well, let's just go ahead and pull it up, pull our yearlies. Very rarely will I pull a yearly chart on a live stream, but these levels were pretty good, and they needed to be written down. This yearly support zone right around 57.8. We had a buy order from about 58 or something. We didn't quite get it, but that's all right. Now we're pulling back. Now this market's pulling back, and right here you've got a 70. So you've got 70,876, and we're printing about 68. So let's go ahead and take this right down to, say, a 30-minute chart, and you'll notice that we're closing in, potentially closing in on that area, which more than likely will act as resistance. So expect some intraday scalpers to step up and scalp to the short, that 70 area. Probably best to wait if you're just playing for real tight gains and big leverage. Probably best to wait right around 70.85, something like that. 70,875. Pretty good stuff there, though. I mean, crypto definitely on the move. Bitcoin flat again today. Dogecoin's off about 3.25%. Ethereum's off about 1.6%, and Shiba Inu's up about 0.3%. But this one's bad. I mean, this is one that I'm pretty happy by not taking the trade yet. I don't think it's time, but I mean, Shiba is really, really in an area probably where you want to be a bidder. I mean, realistically, you probably want to be bidding Shiba, and it just depends on if we get maybe a little more normalcy in the financial markets, because this has been just crazy. This has been just absolutely crazy. Let me see, about 4,700 participants, top 10% on the leaderboard, already at 78% in gains, or 78,000 in gains. Wow. 78,000 in gains. Those guys, I don't know how exactly they do it. I really don't. I've traded a few of those contests, and I just end up getting bored, T. That's for sure. But hey, best of luck to you. Keep on keeping on. Maybe get a few big winners and see if you can't stack a few chips. All right, everybody. I mean, that's going to be pretty much it for today. That's 2 live streams. We're going to come back tomorrow. Remember, over on our Switch Markets YouTube channel, we are going to be live during the U.S. pre-market. So you're going to be sort of in an interesting position to maybe ask some questions, maybe look at some price action. I don't know what's going to happen between now and then. I mean, I put out the weekly preview, the switch on picks of the week, and all the markets just went so far by the time the video came out that it was already old. So what you have to do is really just be careful. That's all I'm going to say. These markets there's a lot of money flying around and it's a lot of fun, but you have to be very careful. I mean, this U.S. oil is a fantastic example. I mean, look at the sweep that we just got. Swept it lower from 75. That is staggering volatility. You got 62% down there. Maybe it's 73.31. That might be worth a look. But 72.04. Where do we close? Do we close back up at 75? I think it's possible. So much volatility right now. I know that everybody's, anxious and you guys want to make some money, and I get it. So do I. But trades have to be affordable. And remember, if you start to see the market moving against you, with ranges this big and this many players, these markets, if they move against you, they're probably going to keep going. So be very, very careful with what you're doing. That's for sure. All right. Let me see. T. Mariner, what time do you start live on the live streams before the New York market? This week, I'm going to be on at about 8:30 a.m. Eastern every day. 8:30 a.m. Eastern, and I believe that is, 13:30 GMT. And that's going to be over on the Switch Markets YouTube channel. I can just go ahead and show you. I've already got them all scheduled. And so we're going twice a day, double duty when we get this much action, because so much is happening. I mean, so much is happening that we have to be on it a couple of times a day. That's for sure. All right, let's go ahead and have a look here. This is our Switch Markets YouTube. If you're not familiar with it, you see that's us live right now. That's me staring into the camera. But this right in here, you can see that we've got some that are scheduled. So just go ahead and set your notifications, and you'll get notified. And I will be there. So we'll be there pretty much for the rest of the week, 6:30. And then we got NFP Friday. I haven't even got to NFP yet. That's how much is going on. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now. You have a fantastic trading session as always. Trade the action well. Be careful. Stay safe. Caution's the better part of valor, but trade the action well, and we'll talk soon. See ya.